In an alternate path of destiny, Anakin Skywalker is granted the rank of Jedi Master during the turbulent days of the Clone Wars. The Council, though cautious, decides that his victories in battle, his loyalty to the Republic, and his unmatched skill with the Force make him worthy of the highest honor. For Anakin, this moment changes everything. The frustration and bitterness that once clouded his heart begin to fade, replaced with a sense of belonging. He finally feels trusted by his peers, and the approval he long craved is now his. As a master, Anakin is granted greater access to the knowledge of the Jedi archives. Among those hidden texts are studies of the Force that discuss visions, prophecy, and even glimpses of the mysteries of life and death. When Anakin confides in Master Yoda about his haunting dreams of Padme dying, Yoda does not dismiss him. Instead, he guides him to search the archives for wisdom and to seek deeper meditation. This guidance allows Anakin to confront his fears rather than hide them in secret. Palpatine, the cunning Chancellor, still attempts to sway Anakin to the dark side. He whispers promises of unnatural power, of ways to save Padme that the Jedi would never teach. Yet Anakin, now armed with the authority of a master and the trust of his order, feels less dependent on Palpatine's words. Though he listens, doubt creeps into his mind about the true intentions of the Chancellor. The Council assigns Anakin to observe Palpatine more closely, not as a pawn, but as an equal to masters like Mace Windu. This new responsibility sharpens his instincts. His growing suspicion leads him to uncover fragments of the Chancellor's deception before it is too late. Padme, sensing Anakin's calmer nature, feels hope for their future and believes his rise to mastery has brought balance to his spirit. Still, shadows linger. Anakin's ambition and passion are not erased, only tempered. The temptation of power is never far from his heart, yet the recognition he craved provides him with strength against it. As the war rages on and Palpatine maneuvers his final plans, the galaxy edges closer to its turning point. But in this timeline, Anakin Skywalker stands taller, not as a restless knight, but as a Jedi Master whose choices may decide the fate of all. In this path of destiny, the Jedi Council makes the bold decision to grant Anakin Skywalker the rank of Master. The choice is met with hesitation by some, but the Council recognizes his strength, his victories in the Clone Wars, and his unique connection to the Force. For Anakin, this moment changes everything. The bitterness he once carried toward the Council eases, replaced with pride and gratitude. At last, he feels trusted and respected, no longer treated as a mere knight, but honored as one of their greatest. With this new rank, Anakin gains full access to the Jedi archives. Within those ancient records, he studies secrets of prophecy, visions, and the mysteries of the living Force. When he confides in Yoda about the visions of Padme's death, Yoda listens carefully. Instead of sending him away, Yoda guides Anakin toward meditation and balance, teaching him to face his fears with patience rather than anger. Anakin feels less alone, and for the first time, he believes the Jedi are truly standing with him. Chancellor Palpatine, however, does not abandon his schemes. He tempts Anakin with tales of powers that could cheat death, powers forbidden by the Jedi. But Anakin, now with the authority and confidence of a master, questions the Chancellor's words more carefully. The seeds of doubt grow in his mind. Why would Palpatine know so much about such dark knowledge? Why would he push Anakin to mistrust the very order that has now embraced him? The Council places Anakin in a position of greater trust, asking him to watch Palpatine closely. Instead of feeling manipulated, Anakin accepts the task with pride, believing he can serve both the Jedi and the Republic. His suspicion deepens as he notices the Chancellor's manipulations and secrecy. Padme sees the change in Anakin as well. His anger softens, his burden lessens, and his presence brings her hope for their child and their future together. She believes that his new rank has given him peace. Yet the galaxy remains on the edge of war, and the darkness does not fade easily. Anakin still carries ambition and passion, and temptation continues to whisper to him. But as a Jedi Master, he stands stronger against the shadows, holding the fate of the Republic in his hands. In this alternate telling, Anakin Skywalker is granted the title of Jedi Master during the final days of the Clone Wars. The Council, though cautious of his fiery spirit, decides that his victories and his bond with the Force prove him worthy of the honor. For Anakin, it is a moment that transforms his heart. The resentment he once carried toward the Council eases, and for the first time, he feels that he truly belongs among the greatest defenders of the Republic. As a Master, Anakin gains access to ancient texts within the Jedi archives. He studies the writings on the Force, visions of the future, and the mysteries of life itself. His fear for Padme Amidala's safety still lingers, but now he has the trust of the Council to confide in. When he approaches Master Yoda with his visions of Padme's death, Yoda listens with patience, guiding him toward calm and acceptance instead of rejection. Anakin feels less isolated, and this shared trust helps lighten the burden he has carried in secret. Palpatine, ever cunning, continues to whisper in Anakin's ear. He tempts him with promises of forbidden power, offering the ability to prevent death itself. Yet Anakin, now strengthened by the confidence of his fellow Jedi, does not cling so easily to the Chancellor's words. His doubts about Palpatine grow as he begins to question why the leader of the Republic knows so much about the dark side of the Force. The Council assigns Anakin to observe Palpatine closely, not as a reluctant spy, but as a trusted master with authority. Instead of feeling insulted, Anakin takes pride in the mission, believing that he alone can balance loyalty to the Jedi and his friendship with the Chancellor. His keen insight begins to unravel the shadows around Palpatine's true identity. Padme notices the change in Anakin as well. His anger softens, his voice calms, and the hope of raising their child together feels real. She sees in him the man she always believed he could be, now tempered by wisdom and responsibility. Still, the galaxy teeters on the edge of darkness. Anakin's ambition has not vanished, only balanced by newfound trust. Temptation still lingers in whispers, but as a Jedi Master, Anakin stands taller, ready to decide not only his own fate, but the fate of the Republic itself. In this version of events, the Jedi Council chooses a different path and grants Anakin Skywalker the title of Jedi Master. The weight of this honor falls upon him like a great light, pushing away the shadows of frustration that once haunted his heart. At last, he feels that the Council truly respects him, that he is no longer a tool of war, but a trusted guardian of the Republic. The recognition fills him with pride, yet also with a new sense of responsibility. With his new rank, Anakin is allowed into the deepest chambers of the Jedi archives. He searches through ancient texts, learning of prophecies, visions, and the mysteries of the Force that had once been hidden from him. His dreams of Padme Amidala's death still torment him, but now he can share his fears openly. When he turns to Master Yoda, he is not dismissed. Yoda listens, guiding him with wisdom, teaching him to release his fear rather than let it control him. Anakin feels supported instead of cast aside, and for the first time, he believes that the Jedi truly stand with him. Palpatine, still weaving his web of manipulation, tempts Anakin with stories of powers beyond the teachings of the Jedi. He whispers of abilities to prevent death, of secrets that could save Padme. But Anakin, standing tall as a master, no longer listens with blind desperation. Instead, suspicion begins to grow within him. Why would the Chancellor know of such dark knowledge? Why would he push Anakin away from the very order that has now embraced him? The Council entrusts Anakin with the delicate task of keeping watch over Palpatine. This time, Anakin does not see it as an insult, but as a duty worthy of his rank. He feels he is in the right place to protect both the Republic and his family. His closeness to Palpatine allows him to notice details he once ignored, and the truth of the Chancellor begins to unravel before his eyes. Padme sees the change in Anakin as well. His anger softens, his words carry calmness, and she feels hope that their future together is safe. Though the galaxy still trembles with war and darkness looms, Anakin Skywalker now walks with the wisdom of a Jedi Master, his choices standing between light and shadow. In this alternate timeline, the Jedi Council makes the rare and unexpected decision to grant Anakin Skywalker the title of Jedi Master. The chamber is filled with silence when the words are spoken, and for Anakin, it is as though a great weight has lifted from his shoulders. The frustration and bitterness that once burned within him ease, replaced by a deep sense of pride and belonging. At last, he feels accepted, respected, and trusted by the order he has served so fiercely. As a master, Anakin gains access to the deepest knowledge of the Jedi archives. He spends long hours searching through ancient texts, learning about prophecy, visions, and the mysteries of life and death. His haunting dreams of Padme Amidala's death still trouble him, but now he is not forced to keep them secret. When he turns to Master Yoda, he is met not with dismissal, but with guidance. Yoda listens carefully, teaching him to face his fears with patience and to trust in the living force. For the first time, Anakin feels he does not walk alone with his burden. Yet Palpatine does not release his hold so easily. The Chancellor continues to tempt Anakin, whispering of powers that could save Padme from death. But Anakin, no longer clouded by resentment toward the Council, listens with greater caution. He begins to question why Palpatine knows of such powers, and why he speaks of the dark side with such ease. Seeds of doubt take root in Anakin's mind, slowly unraveling the blind trust he once placed in the Chancellor. The Jedi Council assigns Anakin the duty of watching Palpatine closely, and this time, he accepts without anger. He feels honored by the trust given to him, and he believes that as both a master and a friend, he is uniquely suited to uncover the truth. His closeness to Palpatine allows him to see hidden signs of deception that once went unnoticed. Padme, too, notices the change in him. His anger softens, his presence feels calmer, and she begins to hope that their future and their child's future may yet be free of fear. Though the galaxy is still torn by war and a shadow of darkness spreads, Anakin Skywalker now carries the wisdom of a Jedi Master, and his choices will determine whether light or darkness shapes the fate of the Republic. In this reimagined story, the Jedi Council chooses to grant Anakin Skywalker the rank of Jedi Master during the final days of the Clone Wars. The chamber is filled with solemn faces as the decision is made, and for Anakin, the moment is life-changing. The resentment that once festered within him begins to fade, replaced by a powerful sense of trust and belonging. For the first time, he feels that his worth has been fully recognized, that the Order truly values him not just as a warrior, but as a guardian of peace. With his new authority, Anakin steps into the hidden depths of the Jedi archives, discovering secrets of the Force that had long been kept from him. The knowledge of prophecy, visions, and the mysteries of life and death open before him. His dreams of Padme Amidala's death continue to haunt him, but now he no longer carries the fear in silence. He turns to Master Yoda, who listens patiently and offers wisdom. Yoda's counsel guides Anakin to release his fear rather than be consumed by it. This connection makes Anakin feel supported, no longer isolated in his struggle. Palpatine, however, remains relentless. He whispers promises of powers that could save Padme, hinting at knowledge the Jedi would never share. Yet Anakin, strengthened by the trust of the Council and the weight of his new title, is not so easily swayed. Suspicion stirs within him. Why would the Chancellor speak of the dark side with such certainty? Why does he encourage Anakin to doubt the very Order that has now embraced him fully? When the Council assigns Anakin to observe Palpatine, he does not feel insulted. Instead, he accepts with determination, believing this duty is both an honor and a chance to protect the Republic. With his sharper insight, he begins to notice details of deception that once slipped past him. Each encounter with Palpatine deepens his suspicion, moving him closer to the truth. Padme watches these changes with relief. The darkness that once clouded Anakin's presence begins to lift, replaced by calm and balance. For her, hope grows stronger, and she believes their child may yet be born into a future free of fear. Though war still rages across the galaxy, Anakin Skywalker now stands as a Jedi Master. His choice is poised to shape the destiny of the Republic and the balance of the Force itself. In this alternate turn of fate, the Jedi Council decides to grant Anakin Skywalker the rank of Jedi Master during the critical days of the Clone Wars. The words spoken in the council chamber strike deeply within him, filling the emptiness that once fueled his frustration. For the first time, Anakin feels that the Order has placed its full trust in him, not only as a skilled warrior, but as an equal among the wisest protectors of the galaxy. The bitterness that had clouded his heart slowly begins to fade, replaced by a powerful sense of loyalty and belonging. With his new title, Anakin is granted access to the hidden knowledge of the Jedi archives. Within the ancient records, he searches for answers about life, death, and the mysteries of the Force. His dreams of Padme Amidala's death still linger in his mind, but now he can confide openly in Master Yoda. Rather than dismissing him, Yoda listens with patience and offers guidance, teaching him to face his fear without letting it control his heart. This new trust between Anakin and the Council eases the heavy burden he once carried alone. Palpatine continues his efforts, whispering promises of forbidden power, speaking of abilities that could save Padme from death itself. But Anakin, strengthened by the respect he has earned, begins to question these temptations. Suspicion creeps into his thoughts as he wonders why the Chancellor knows so much about the dark side of the Force. No longer blinded by resentment toward the Jedi, he grows more cautious with each of Palpatine's words. The Council soon assigns Anakin the role of watching the Chancellor. Unlike before, he accepts this task as a duty worthy of a Jedi Master. He feels honored by the responsibility, believing he has the wisdom to walk between loyalty to his order and his closeness to Palpatine. With each passing day, the veil of deception begins to weaken, and Anakin edges closer to uncovering the truth. Padme sees the transformation as well. The anger that once surged within him softens, replaced by calm and focus. She believes that his rise to mastery has brought him peace, and that their child's future may be safe. Though the galaxy remains torn by war, Anakin Skywalker now carries the strength and wisdom of a Jedi Master, and his choices will shape the destiny of the Republic and the balance of the Force. In this alternate path, the Jedi Council decides to grant Anakin Skywalker the rank of Jedi Master during the final days of the Clone Wars. For Anakin, the decision is life-changing. The bitterness that once clouded his heart begins to fade, and the frustration that drove him to question the Council eases. He finally feels seen, respected, and trusted by those he has fought beside for so long. The recognition strengthens his loyalty to the Jedi and gives him a sense of belonging he had always longed for. With this new honor, Anakin gains access to the hidden archives of the Jedi Temple. He spends long nights searching the ancient texts for answers about the mysteries of the Force, life, and death. His visions of Padme Amidala's death still haunt him, but now he carries the freedom to speak openly. He turns to Master Yoda, who listens with patience and wisdom. Instead of being dismissed, he is guided toward peace, taught to face his fears without allowing them to control him. For the first time, Anakin feels he is no longer alone in his struggle. Chancellor Palpatine, however, continues his whispers. He tempts Anakin with promises of forbidden powers, of ways to prevent death. But Anakin, bolstered by the trust of the Council and the weight of his new role, listens with a sharper mind. Suspicion grows within him, and he begins to question why the Chancellor speaks of powers so deeply tied to the dark side. No longer blinded by resentment, he sees Palpatine in a new light. The Council assigns Anakin the duty of observing Palpatine. Unlike before, he does not feel insulted. Instead, he embraces it with determination, believing it to be his responsibility as a Jedi Master. He walks carefully, balancing his loyalty to the Jedi and his closeness to the Chancellor. And in time, the truth of Palpatine's deception begins to surface. Padme notices the change within him. His anger lessens, his voice softens, and his presence feels calmer. She sees hope in their future, believing that the recognition he has received has restored peace to his heart. Yet the galaxy remains fragile, the war rages on, and the shadows still gather. Anakin Skywalker now walks as a Jedi Master, and the choices he makes will shape the destiny of the Republic and the balance of the Force itself. In this reimagined moment of history, the Jedi Council makes the decision to grant Anakin Skywalker the rank of Jedi Master during the final days of the Clone Wars. The words echo through the chamber, and for Anakin, it feels as though a heavy chain has been broken. The frustration and resentment that once burned inside him begin to dissolve. At last, he is trusted, respected, and accepted as one of the great defenders of peace. The honor brings him pride, but also a deeper sense of responsibility to the order he has long served. With this new title, Anakin gains access to the most secret corners of the Jedi archives. The ancient texts speak of prophecy, visions, and the mysteries of life and death. His dreams of Padme Amidala's death still linger in his mind, but now he carries the courage to share them openly. He turns to Master Yoda, who listens with patience and wisdom. Yoda teaches him not to let fear rule his heart, but to trust in the living Force. For the first time, Anakin feels that the Council stands with him, rather than holding him at a distance. Chancellor Palpatine, ever cunning, does not abandon his schemes. He whispers of powers beyond the teachings of the Jedi, powers that could save Padme. But Anakin, no longer weighed down by feelings of betrayal from the Council, hears these words with suspicion. He questions why the Chancellor speaks of such knowledge, and why he seems so drawn to the dark side. The seeds of doubt take root, and the bond between Anakin and Palpatine begins to weaken. When the Council asks Anakin to watch Palpatine, he does not see it as an insult. Instead, he accepts with honor, believing that as both a master and a trusted friend of the Chancellor, he alone can uncover the truth. His closeness to Palpatine allows him to see hidden details that once escaped him, and slowly, the mask of the Chancellor begins to slip. Padme senses the change in him. The anger that once clouded his presence softens, replaced by calmness and balance. She begins to hope for their child's future, believing that Anakin has found peace within himself. The war still rages across the galaxy, but Anakin Skywalker now carries the wisdom of a Jedi Master, and the choices before him will decide the fate of the Republic and the destiny of the Force. In this alternate destiny, the Jedi Council chooses to grant Anakin Skywalker the rank of Jedi Master during the final chapter of the Clone Wars. The decision echoes through the chamber like a wave of hope, and for Anakin, it feels as though the burden of doubt is finally lifted from his shoulders. The anger and resentment that once poisoned his heart begin to fade. For the first time, he feels respected, trusted, and fully accepted by the order that he has long served with loyalty and sacrifice. As a master, Anakin steps into the hidden depths of the Jedi archives, where ancient knowledge waits. He searches tirelessly through the records of prophecy, visions, and the mysteries of life and death. His terrifying dreams of Padme Amidala's death continue to trouble him, but now he does not hide them in secret. He goes to Master Yoda, who listens patiently and offers guidance. Yoda's wisdom teaches him to release his fear instead of clinging to it, to place his trust in the living Force. With this support, Anakin feels less alone, his burden finally shared with those who stand beside him. Chancellor Palpatine continues his whispers, speaking of powers beyond the teachings of the Jedi, powers to prevent death itself. Yet Anakin, now strengthened by the trust of the Council, listens with new caution. His eyes open wider to the Chancellor's manipulation. He begins to wonder why Palpatine knows so much about the dark side and why he pushes Anakin toward doubt. The loyalty that once tied him blindly to Palpatine slowly begins to loosen. The Council soon entrusts Anakin with the task of observing Palpatine. This time, he does not see it as an insult, but as an honor worthy of his rank. He believes it is his duty to balance loyalty to his order and his closeness to the Chancellor. Through this, he begins to notice signs of deception, small cracks in Palpatine's mask that hint at a darker truth. Padme notices the transformation in her husband. The fire of anger within him burns softer, replaced by calm and balance. She sees hope in his eyes and believes their child may yet grow in peace. The galaxy is still scarred by war, and the shadows of darkness still gather, but Anakin Skywalker now stands as a Jedi Master, and his choices will shape the destiny of the Republic and the future of the Force.